Hello there! Did you know that cooking your own food and your kitchen might be doing more harm than good for you without knowing it? While cooking your own food and being in your own kitchen allows you to understand what goes into your body, which is actually a very good decision. There are some risks that you still need to understand that are associated with this. From toxic substances that are in our food, to toxic cookwares that we use and storage materials that we use, and even harmful ingredients, to even the poor ventilation and environment that we cook in. There are a number of health factors that are associated with our cooking decisions. Do you know that some of these cookwares that we use, especially non-stick cookwares, release toxic fumes into our body? Plastic materials also leach into our food. All of these harmful practices have been shown by data to cause cancer, lung diseases, and a host of other types of diseases that are not even well pronounced. In this video today, I'll be sharing with you things that I am doing to make healthy choices for me and my family in my kitchen. I believe that health is wealth, and I believe in stewarding my health. Part of the stewardship that I believe in is the stewardship of my body that God has given to me and that of my family. So I am making this conscious decision, though they may be expensive, but I'm making them one at a time. And I want to encourage you to do the same. There's so much evidence, there's so much research that is going on right now that is showing to us that we need to be conscious of what we allow into our space, into our bodies. A lot of producers are money conscious, forgetting the health benefit and health risk to us. So we have that responsibility to choose and select what is good for us. So stick with me till the end of this video as we go through each of these changes one after the other. Hopefully this will also encourage you to take some steps if you are not already doing so for your health and that of your family. Thank you, and let's dive right into the video. The first change I have made is to replace all plastic cookwares and materials, even storage containers in my home, replace them with glass. Yes, last year I made that decision. I threw out all of the plastic food containers that I had, to-go plates, cooking materials. I threw out everything. And one of the reasons why I made that decision was because of the health and environmental impact of plastics. Number one, plastics usually have some harmful chemicals like BPA, though you'll find most in the store we say BPA free, but BPA, you get exposed to BPA through using plastics in like microwave and exposing them to heat. These things, when they get into our body, are endocrine disruptors. These disruptors have been shown to be leading causes of like fertility, obesity, and even developmental issues in children. But when it comes to glass, glass is non-reactive. So no matter the temperature you put it in, hot, cold, it doesn't react. It's the same. It's safe for cold food, it's safe for hot food. And when you talk about the environmental impact, plastics are not usually recyclable as much. There's been lots of new research showing how to recycle and reuse plastic here and there, but there's so much plastic that we're using that we need to cut down on and may not be able to even recycle. So at the end of the day, we have lots of plastics ending up as landfills in oceans and just taking years to decompose, just occupying the earth. Whereas in the case of glass is fully recyclable. You can recycle glass, they can break down glass into something else without losing purity, without losing any quality. Another thing that I observed that I really hated was the discoloration that happens with plastic. After using plastic for a while, especially if you're using like transparent plastic or like white plastic, they tend to change color, and I feel like that color change is very ugly. So because of that, I did away with it. But glass, no matter how long you use them, they tend to look the same for a long time. And also, what I feel like, though glass might be expensive, but looking at the cost difference, the differential is really it's not much, considering that you will use glass for a longer time. So for this, looking at all of these things, I decided, no, I'm done with plastic. I don't need that in my life no more. So I threw all of them out, and I think you should throw out yours as well. Another change that I have made is to throw out all of my cheap cookwares. You guys, if you follow me on social media, especially Instagram, you will see when I posted about my Kara report. This Kara report did not last up till 1 year. Okay, they lasted over a year, just a little bit over a year. That was because I pushed further till then. They were cheap, they were bad, and I wasn't going to take that risk.
I don't know how you guys use Kara, but you guys need to probably teach me something that I don't know, because what is this? What is this? What? My money gone, chipped. What? No way.
chipped cookwares are bad for our health because they expose the underlying metal in those materials and they get into our bodies. Some of these underlying materials are like aluminium, they are like metals, some of them have Teflon in them, and when they get into our systems, they sometimes cause a lot of health issues like thyroid disorders, developmental issues, even for us and children. So I was not willing to take that risk, so I threw out all of those pots. It was very painful for me because those pots were quite expensive, but I threw all of them out, and I'm glad that I did. So in addition to the risk of leaching that happens with chipped cookware, another thing that happens is bacterial contamination, and this happens because crevices that are created when these cookwares are chipped. So every time you wash your pot, some of this food that you've cooked, they stay trapped in those crevices, and so that's a risk for cross-contamination because you've cooked with that pot before, then you cook with it again, and those ones that are left in the pot, by the time you start cooking the new food, they come back into the food. So it's a risk for bacterial contamination, which for me is not worth it at all. Also, chipped cookwares are not even efficient for cooking. At the end of the day, they cause uneven heat distribution. Realize that sometimes when you're cooking, some part of your food are well cooked, some are not well cooked because the heat is not evenly distributing anymore. That pot has lost the efficiency that even the manufacturers have made it for, so it's not totally worth it. So what did I do? I trashed everything, and so that's leading me to the third change that I made. When I trashed all of those cookwares, I replaced them with stainless steel pots and cast iron cookwares. And honestly, in terms of this, I wouldn't say I've gotten there yet. I'm still making more research. I'm going to put like instead of the kinds of pots that I got majorly stainless steel pots and cast iron. Cast iron, for instance, though has some iron in it that can leach into your food. The iron that they leach into your food offer great benefit to your body. Some doctors have even advised, I remember my husband's doctor had advised him to be cooking in iron pots because his iron level at that point was low. So it's a good source of iron for you. Stainless steel, on the other hand, is non-reactive. So there's nothing leaching into your food. It's the same. And also in that line, cooking with cold or cooking, even our salty acidic dishes that we cook as Africans, it doesn't react to it. So makes it a safer option for us. And there are a number of stainless steel pots that are available in the market. One thing though that I don't like about my current stainless steel pots is that they are not non-stick, and so because of that, sometimes a lot of my food gets stuck in the pot and washing can be hard sometimes. But even with that, they are rust resistant. When you wash them, no matter how much I scratch them, their surface remains the same. They don't change, and so that means I get to use them for a longer time, which for me is great value for money. Same with my cast iron pot so far. Those ones have a bit of discoloration that has happened with more washing that I do. They are not non-stick as well. I'm still looking out for options of non-stick so that I don't have to be dealing with the problem of my food getting stuck while I'm cooking. But cast iron and stainless steel are great pot because they also offer great distribution of heat. So they are good for boiling, for frying, for sauteing, and more importantly, they are good for your health. So for me, that is great value for money, and I'm hoping to get some more. Yeah, so I'm looking out to get the X-Lad range of pots. Before, I used to think that they were expensive. I should have gotten them before I got cookware, but I felt they were so expensive. So I opted for Caraway rather, but now I'm regretting my decisions, and I've read further about them, and I think I'm going to invest. Another change that I am making in my kitchen, this is still work in progress though, is replacing aluminium foil with parchment paper. Aluminium foil are very reactive. They leach aluminium into our food, and studies from World Health Organization has also shown a link between excessive intake of aluminium and neurotoxicity, and even linked them to Alzheimer's diseases and bone disorders. So for me, this is not worth it. And if you check some of our oven, because aluminium gets leached into our food, especially when exposed to high heat like we do in our oven. If you even see some oven, they would write do not use foil. Like I have that in my oven here, do not use foil. So I don't use foil in my oven, I use parchment paper. Also, aluminium foil are energy intensive. So for production, their carbon footprint is very high, which is not good for the environment. Sometimes they end up in landfills just like plastics, and they are hard to recycle. So that is not even good for our health. On the other hand, parchment paper are non-reactive. They don't react with our acidic food, with our salty dishes, so you can use them for a varied number of cooking your jollof rice, cooking in your oven, whatever it is that you want to cook with. They are very good. In addition to that, parchment papers are coated with silicone, which is non-reactive, so they work well for different types of cooking something that we do. You can look out for parchment paper when you're shopping for unbleached parchment paper. Those ones are free from chlorine and so environmentally friendly as well. So with the makeup of this parchment paper, they provide a safe barrier for our food. They don't react with our food. Either we cook salty or acidic dishes, they are still very much okay. And there are lots of biodegradable options for parchment paper that you can find in the store. They might be more expensive, just a little bit more expensive, but they are better for us, they are better for health, and they are better for the earth. Another change that I have made is replacing store-bought candles with homemade ones. So I had to learn how to make my own candles, and now I'm also selling them on my store. You can find them on my website listed on the screen or in the description box below. And I had to do this because most of the store-bought candles are made from paraffin wax. Paraffin wax is a byproduct of petroleum. And then I asked, would you intentionally light up petroleum in your house or because you want to smell something good? No. So a lot of these store-bought candles are made with paraffin wax and even harmful fragrances, non-natural fragrances that are harmful to our health. Like I said, paraffin wax is made from petroleum, and when you burn them, they release toxic chemicals like toluene and benzoin. I'm sure that my scientists can understand me better. These things have been known to be carcinogens. Carcinogens cause cancer. So all of these health risks are not what is because I want to smell and feel very good. And some of these things, when you burn them, you will realize that they trigger issues. Sometimes you feel like you have headache after you burnt your candle for a while. So if you notice that you've been having headaches, you should probably try to identify the trigger. Something else in addition to store-bought candles that made me decide against it was the kind of wicks that they use. A lot of them don't use eco-friendly wicks, and most of these wicks that they use actually contain lead. And you know, lead exposure, especially for a long time, can also affect your neurological system. It's not good for your health. It's not good for the health of your children. It's not good for the health of anybody. So I made that decision to do away with it. And so in my own candle making processes, I use natural wax. I use beeswax, coconut wax. They are more expensive, I can tell you. They are very expensive. I know how much quantity I get for like $50. It's very small. But for my candle making processes, I use like natural wax, I use natural fragrances, and I use eco-friendly wick. They are more expensive, but for me, the luxury that I'm paying for this, the extra cost that I'm paying for all of these things, they are worth my health. So, and as God helps us, let us also help ourselves. I'm not saying that doing all of this is what guarantees that you are in perfect health. I am not a doctor, and research is always improving. It is just knowing better and doing better, you get. So let's not be feigning ignorance for something that we already know and just live our lives as we please. It's like an abuse to our bodies, you get. So don't forget, if you cannot make your own candles at home yourself, probably because you don't have the time or you feel like it is too stressful for you, you can shop from our store. Our candles are made with natural waxes. Like I've said, we use beeswax, we use soy wax, we use coconut wax. We also use natural fragrances, and we also use eco-friendly cotton wick. So by that, you are creating a safer, cleaner environment for you and your family, avoiding the pollution and all of the troubles that come with it. It is not worth your health at all. The final one that I'll be discussing today is my grocery list. Be mindful of my grocery list. I have become very mindful of my grocery list, and because of that, my grocery list has shrunk by large amounts, saving me money in one way or the other. So before that, I would just be buying different things. What I used to check on my grocery items used to be mostly about calorie content, nutritional information, and just like watching out for sugar replacements that have been disguised in the grocery list. But now I have gone beyond that. There are a number of harmful ingredients that are being used in food. Number one, when I find any grocery item that has a long list of ingredients, for sure I'm dropping it, because I can't even understand all the names that have been listed here. So why do I want to be disturbing myself? I leave it. If I don't understand what it is, I leave it. I don't buy it. It's not compulsory. There are so many things that are not even needed in my food. I'm trying to go as natural as possible. I don't need to put so many spices in my food before they become delicious. I'm sticking with my natural spices, my ginger, my garlic, my salt. I don't even use Maggi to cook every time. So I'm trying to keep things as minimal as possible. And you know, buying a lot of all these things is wasting money that you don't need. It's like using your own money to buy trouble. You don't need them. There are so many food items, so many grocery items that have been shown to contain harmful chemicals and even coloring like red 40. There are number of them that we need to watch out for. There are some nitrites in our food. Some are containing high sodium that are really bad for our health, because if you look at the sodium per serving and how much you're supposed to take in a day, you imagine that, okay, if you take this one, you take more, you are already going over the limit of what you're supposed to have for the day. So it's always important for us to be conscious of what we eat. There are so many things that you are probably buying now that you don't need, and you need to stop buying. For instance, I don't buy hot dogs. Hot dog is a waste of money. There's nothing that is making my food do, or it's not making my food better in any way, and for me it is harmful to your health. Most of these hot dogs have nitrites in them, and their processes, they are too processed. You don't need all of those things. So I've done away with a lot of them. Even bread, right now I'm starting to make my bread at home. I got a bread maker, though my bread maker right now is damaged, but I'm getting to use my bread mixer to make bread. Sometimes I buy bread from the store once in a while, but I've limited the number of times I buy bread from the store. Sometimes I replace with homemade ones, so that way I'm reducing my exposure to these things. Even for cake, things that we do, it seems like doing some things at home by ourselves takes more time, a lot of more effort, but for me I feel like it is better for our health. And one of the things I'm beginning to do is to meal prep ahead, do like bi-weekly meal prep, so that way I have food stored in my freezer, in my fridge, and nobody is tempted to go to the store to buy artificial food or food that have been highly processed. So like noodles as well, I don't eat noodles, I don't buy them in my house. So one of the things I try to do is I don't buy things that I don't want to eat, because one thing about me, if I see it, I will eat it. So I already know my limitations, because of that if you come to my house you will not see noodles. I don't buy noodles. The pastries I buy, they are very limited. I don't buy snacks. My son does not eat snacks. He only few snacks. I keep trying and reading up. Sometimes when I read up and I say, okay, let me try this, but at the end of the day I realize that there are so many disguised unnecessary things in the snacks, so I trash them. Sometimes I try to make those snacks for him at home myself. It's more time, I tell you, it's more stress. It's not as if it's easy, but I feel like it's something that we all need to be mindful of, to be conscious of. And like I said earlier, a lot of these manufacturers and producers are too money conscious to care about our health. So we shouldn't be giving them our money in exchange for the rubbish that they are selling to us. I'd rather use my money to go on vacation. I don't know about you, but I'd rather spend my money on vacation than spending my money on rubbish food that will kill me. Alright, so those are the few things I just wanted to share with you today. Those are the changes I'm making. I keep researching, I keep reading, and with more changes that I'm making, I'll probably share with you guys. So that's why you need to follow me on my socials on the screen that you can find. Also, I'd like to read from you, because I don't know it all. I am a learner. Please let me know what you are doing, some things that you have made, some changes that you have made, even better products that you have found that are good for your health. Please put me onto those blogs. I would like to know. I would like to learn from you. If you have not subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? You have watched this video until now. Please and please make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell right next to you, so that when next I come into another video, you will be the first to know, and then you can catch on to it. Thank you so very much for hanging out with me till this time. I really appreciate you being here, and know that from the depth of my heart, I love you. But no matter how much I love you, God loves you more. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.